On our wedding anniversary, I walked in on my husband, Robert Davis, and his secretary having an affair in the CEO's office. The mistress, Ashley Green, rubbed her belly, faking tears. "I'm pregnant with Robert's child," she claimed. "He threw divorce papers at me. You've been the wife for 3 years. It's time you gave that back." But he didn't know my drawer was locked with the share certificates for 60% of the company's stock, and I also held the ledger detailing his embezzlement of company funds. "Robert Davis, your position as CEO was given to you by my Chen family now. I want you to crawl back to me. Watch how I take down this scumbag and his scheming mistress and reclaim my billions in assets." It was our 3rd wedding anniversary. I left work early, planning to give Robert Davis a surprise. Pushing open the slightly ajar door of the CEO's office, the repulsive sight and sounds of gasping breaths hit me like a sledgehammer, crushing my heart. "Rob," Ashley Green's voice was a mix of a sob and extreme pleasure. "Sarah Chen, could she suddenly come back? What's there to be afraid of? By now, she's already home cooking, waiting for M." Robert Davis's voice held a sexy hoarseness. Then, his tone shifted to impatience. "Don't mention her. It kills the mood." I felt my blood freeze. My hands and feet went icy cold, as if it plunged into an ice cave. Just as I was about to rush in and tear apart those two, Ashley's seductive voice spoke again. "Rob, our baby, when are you planning to tell her?" "I'm almost 3 months along. If you don't tell her soon, my belly will get bigger, baby." I was struck by lightning. I staggered back a step, bumping into the potted plant by the door with a clatter. The sounds from the office stopped abruptly. "Who's there?" Robert Davis's suspicious voice rang out. I took a deep breath, forcing down the overwhelming hatred and disgust, and pushed the door open. I wanted to see just how shameless this man could be. "Sarah, what are you doing here?" Robert Davis quickly got off Ashley, frantically straightening his disheveled clothes. Ashley Green, looking like a startled rabbit, cowered behind Robert Davis, her clothes half undone, revealing large areas of pale skin. Her eyes still held a hint of lingering passion, feigning innocence. "If I didn't come, how would I have witnessed such a splendid spectacle?" I sneered, looking at the two of them. Robert Davis frowned, his tone holding a hint of displeasure. "Sarah, let me explain. Things aren't what you think, not what I think." I let out a harsh laugh. "Then what are they like? Am I blind? Or am I deaf?" "Robert Davis, you're holding another woman, telling me things aren't what I think. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old child?" Ashley Green timidly peeked out from behind Robert Davis. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Ms. Chen, please don't blame Robert. It's all my fault. I loved him too much. I couldn't help myself, and I'm already pregnant with Robert's child." "A child?" "This man had a child with another woman." "Your child?" My gaze shifted to Ashley Green with icy coldness. "Ms. Green, your skill at seducing other women's husbands is truly eye-opening. Ms. Chen, how can you say that about me?" Ashley Green's tears welled up instantly. "Robert and I are truly in love. If you hadn't stubbornly clung to the position of Mrs. Davis, we would have been together openly and honestly long ago." "I'm clinging to the position?" Her shameless words made me furious. "Ashley Green, get this straight. I am Robert Davis's lawfully wedded wife. You? You're nothing more than a shameless mistress." "Enough!" Robert Davis cut in sharply, looking at me with a tight frown. "Sarah, how can you be so unreasonable? Ashley is pregnant with my child. How could you say such vicious words to hurt her?" I looked at the man before me in disbelief. He was defending the mistress Ashley Green and accusing me, his wife. "Am vicious?" My voice trembled slightly with anger. "Robert Davis, you tell me who is truly vicious. Me, for walking in on your affair, or you two, for having an affair right under my nose and getting pregnant?" Robert Davis was speechless at her question, and his face fell. Seeing this, Ashley Green quickly tugged on Robert Davis's sleeve, tears streaming down her face. "Robert, please don't argue with Ms. Chen because of me. It's all my fault. I'm willing to leave. I don't want anything. As long as I can just have the baby." This calculated display of feigned selflessness only made Robert Davis feel more sympathy for her. "Ashley, don't say that." Robert Davis pulled Ashley Green into his arms, soothing her softly. "You're carrying my child. How could I let you leave? I'll handle this." With that, he looked at me. His eyes had returned to their usual coldness and distance. "Sarah, now that you know, I won't hide it from you any longer. Ashley and I are truly in love, and the child she's carrying is mine. Let's get a divorce. Divorce. The words fell from Robert Davis's lips so easily, like a poisoned dagger, stabbing violently into my heart. The man I'd loved for 7 years, my husband of 3, was now asking for a divorce for the sake of another woman and the child she was carrying. I felt the world spin, my vision swam, and I almost lost my balance. Robert Davis, say that again, I asked. My voice hoarse, I said, let's get a divorce. His gaze was firm, without a hint of hesitation. I'll leave with nothing. I'll leave the company and assets to you. I just ask you to let Ashley and me be together. Let you be together? I gave a bitter laugh. Robert Davis, what makes you think I would allow that couple to be together? I looked at Robert Davis's face, a face I had once been so infatuated with, but which now filled me with disgust. Ashley Green nestled into Robert Davis's embrace. A smug smile played on her lips then, as if remembering something. She spoke with a hint of concern. Robert, Ms. Chen, she was expecting too. She paused deliberately, glancing at my abdomen with a meaningful tone. I stiffened, instinctively covering my abdomen. There too, a little life had once grown, a child, Robert Davis, and I had long awaited. But just a month ago, due to an accident, that child had left me forever. Robert Davis knew about this. Ashley, that's enough. Robert Davis cut Ashley Green off. He glanced at me with a complex look, but his tone remained cold. That child is gone, Sarah. There's no going back for us. My heart sank completely. Yes, the child was gone. When I was in the most pain, when I needed his comfort the most, he was busy creating a new life with another woman. What cruel irony. Robert Davis, I said, each word deliberate, my voice thick with hatred. You make me sick. I didn't look at that couple again. I turned and left the suffocating office. Back home, I locked myself in my room and cried into a pillow. I couldn't understand why things had turned out this way. Robert Davis and I used to be the golden couple on campus. He came from a humble background but was incredibly talented. Against my parents' objections, I married him without hesitation. After we married, I used my family's connections and resources to help him start a business. And step by step, built a small startup into a publicly traded company worth billions today. It's fair to say, without me, Robert Davis wouldn't be where he is today. But now, having achieved success and fame, he was kicking aside the wife who stood by him through thick and thin to embrace his true love and the fruit of their love. It was a cruel joke. I wiped away my tears. I wouldn't surrender just like that. Robert Davis, Ashley Green, I will get back what you owe me, little by little, with interest. The next day, I went to the company, my eyes swollen and red. I didn't go to the CEO's office. Instead, I went directly to the legal department. I consulted them about divorce proceedings. More importantly, I intended to take back what was rightfully mine in the Chen Group. I owned 60% of the shares, making me the company's major shareholder. Although Robert Davis was the CEO, the actual controlling stake was still in my hands. Back then, to put Robert Davis at ease, I had never interfered with the company's specific operations, rarely even attending shareholder meetings. Looking back now, I was incredibly foolish. My neglect had allowed Robert Davis and Ashley Green to carry on their affair. Attorney Miller from the legal department was surprised to see me. Ms. Chen, what brings you here? He asked. Attorney Miller, I need you to handle some personal matters for me, I said, getting straight to the point. I'm divorcing Robert Davis. Attorney Miller was stunned, clearly not expecting to hear such news. Ms. Chen, is there some misunderstanding? No misunderstanding, I said calmly. He cheated on me. The mistress Ashley Green is already 3 months pregnant. Ms. Chen, don't worry. I will handle this matter properly. Attorney Miller stated his position immediately. You are the company's major shareholder, and we will do everything to protect your rights. Very well. I nodded. I need you to draft the divorce papers for me. Additionally, I want to revoke all of Robert Davis's management authority in the company, since he is heartless. Don't blame me for being ruthless. Attorney Miller was very efficient. That afternoon, a detailed set of divorce papers and share transfer documents was delivered to my desk. As I looked at the clauses regarding asset division and the change in company management authority, I felt a grim satisfaction. Didn't Robert Davis say he would leave with nothing? Then I would grant him his wish. That evening, Robert Davis came home and saw me sitting calmly on the sofa. As if nothing had happened, he felt uneasy. He started hesitantly. Sarah, shall we talk? Talk about what? I looked up, my gaze indifferent. Your love story with Ashley Green, or the future of your child? My words choked Robert Davis. and his face fell. Sarah, I know you're angry, but what's done is done. We need to face reality. Reality is that you're abandoning the wife who stood by him through thick and thin for the sake of the mistress Ashley Green and the child she's carrying. My tone was laced with sarcasm. Ashley's child is also mine. Robert Davis corrected me, annoyed, and Ashley and I are truly in love. I hope you can understand? I felt as if I'd heard the biggest joke in the world. Robert Davis, you want me to understand your betrayal, understand your heartlessness, understand you treating my sincerity like dirt. I stood up, walked up to Robert Davis, and slapped the divorce papers in my hand hard against his face. Here are the divorce papers. I've already signed it. You wanted this. I'm giving it to you. From now on, we owe each other nothing. Robert Davis looked at the documents scattered on the floor, frowned slightly, and picked them up. When he saw the contents of the agreement, his face changed drastically. Sarah Chen, what is the meaning of this? He looked up, his gaze sharp as he stared at me. You're taking back all my shares and authority in the company. What else? I sneered. Robert Davis, you didn't naively think I'd just hand over the business I built to a man who betrayed me, did you? Don't forget, I built this company from the ground up. Robert Davis retorted, is that so? I curled my lip in disdain. Without my family's connections and resources and funds, what would Robert Davis be? At best, just a slightly clever poor kid. Now, I'm just taking back what belongs to me. Is there a problem with that? You! Robert Davis trembled with rage, pointing at me, unable to speak for a long time. Sarah Chen, you are ruthless. Robert Davis said through gritted teeth, the feeling's mutual. I retorted without backing down. Compared to your heartlessness and disloyalty, what little I've done is nothing. Sarah, we don't need to take it this far. Robert Davis's tone softened slightly, trying to appeal to her emotions. We were husband and wife. After all, even if we can't be a couple, we don't have to be enemies, right? Husband and wife? I sneered. Robert Davis, the moment you got together with Ashley Green, we stopped being husband and wife. As for enemies, don't worry. I won't let you disappear from my life so easily. What do you want? Robert Davis's voice held a hint of imperceptible trembling. There's nothing specific I want, I said faintly. I just want you and Ashley Green to pay the price you deserve for your actions. With that, I ignored Robert Davis and went straight upstairs to my room. The next morning, Robert Davis, for the first time, personally cooked a lavish breakfast. When I came downstairs, I saw the dining table filled with food I liked. I almost laughed. This man certainly knew how to put on a show. Sarah, come quickly and have breakfast. It's all your favorites. Robert Davis solicitously pulled out a chair for me. I ignored him, walked to the table, and sat down, picked up a piece of toast, and began to eat slowly and deliberately. Sarah, I was too impulsive yesterday. I said some things I shouldn't have. Please don't take it to heart. He apologized cautiously. Oh, I raised an eyebrow. Which words shouldn't have been said? Was it saying you wanted a divorce, or saying you wanted to run off with Ashley Green? Sarah, I know you're still angry. Robert Davis pressed on, forcing himself. Regarding Ashley, I'll explain everything to her as soon as possible and have her get an abortion. Can we start over? Please? I put down the toast I was holding, looked at Robert Davis. He looked like a clown. Robert Davis, do you think I would still believe your nonsense? I sneered. Men like you'll sacrifice anything for profit, including your so-called love and your flesh and blood. What I'm saying is true. Robert Davis quickly declared his loyalty. Sarah, the person I've always loved in my heart is you. With Ashley, it was just a moment of confusion, just the mistake all men make. The mistake all men make? I scoffed. Robert Davis, don't drag all men down with you. Not every man is as shameless and despicable as you. I stood up, looking down at him. The divorce papers. I've already had Attorney Miller send them to your email. You have 3 days to think about it. Either sign and leave, or we'll see each other in court. With that, I picked up my bag and left without looking back. Not long after, Attorney Miller called with bad news. Ms. Chen, Mr. Davis, he seems to be secretly siphoning off company funds. My eyes narrowed. What exactly is happening? I found that he's recently had frequent financial transactions with several overseas shell companies involving large sums, and their destination is unknown. Attorney Miller's tone was heavy. I suspect he's trying to strip the company bare before the divorce. That bastard. I trembled with rage. I never expected Robert Davis to stoop to such a level of depravity. Hell, do anything for money. Attorney Miller. Immediately file for an asset freeze and freeze all of Robert Davis's accounts and authority within the company. I ordered decisively. Furthermore, collect evidence of his asset transfers. I will make him pay a heavy price for his actions. Understood, Ms. Chen. I'll get right on it. Robert Davis, since you're asking for trouble, don't blame me for being ruthless. Over the next few days, Robert Davis and I engaged in a silent war, using my position as major shareholder and with the assistance of Attorney Miller's team. I quickly took control of the company, froze Robert Davis's accounts, and prevented further asset transfers. A few days later, I received a call from an unknown number. On the other end was a distorted, hoarse male voice. Sarah Chen, your husband, Robert Davis, is currently in our hands. If you want him alive, prepare $5 million in cash, come alone to an abandoned factory in the industrial district, and don't call the police, otherwise you'll be collecting his body. My heart sank. Robert Davis was kidnapped? Although I hated Robert Davis, we were still husband and wife, after all, and he was still my husband in name. If something happened to him, I wouldn't be able to escape responsibility. Who are you people? Why did you kidnap him? I tried hard to stay calm. Cut the crap. Remember, come alone. Don't call the police. The person on the other end said viciously, then hung up. I held the phone, my palms slightly sweaty. I knew this wasn't simple. The kidnappers specifically asked for me to come alone and stated Robert Davis was in their hands. This felt more like a trap aimed at me. I thought for a moment, then immediately called Attorney Miller. Attorney Miller, please check where Robert Davis went today and who he met. Attorney Miller soon replied, Ms. Chen, Mr. Davis said he was going to meet an important client this morning. He drove alone, and his exact whereabouts are unknown. My frown deepened. I had a nagging feeling this might be related to Robert Davis himself. Could this be a setup that he orchestrated himself? His goal was to gain my sympathy, or perhaps take advantage of the situation to harm me. The more I thought about it, the more suspicious it seemed, but regardless, I had to go. If Robert Davis was truly kidnapped, I couldn't just let him die. If this was a trap, I needed to see what game Robert Davis was trying to play. I followed the kidnappers' demands, prepared $5 million in cash, and drove alone to the abandoned factory in the industrial district. I cautiously walked in and immediately saw Robert Davis tied to a pillar. His hair was messy, with a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. He looked like a complete mess. Seeing me, a complex look flashed in Robert Davis's eyes, a mix of guilt and a hint of imperceptible smugness. Sarah, you came? His voice was a little hoarse. I brought the money. Let him go, I said coldly, throwing the case in my hand onto the ground. Just then, several masked men stepped out of the shadows. The leader held a glinting dagger. Ms. Chen is indeed a woman of her word. The masked leader chuckled sinisterly. However, we don't just want the money, we also want your life. My heart sank. Just as I suspected, this was a trap aimed at me. Robert Davis, is this part of your plan? I looked at Robert Davis, my eyes icy. Robert Davis lowered his head, unable to meet her gaze. Sarah, I'm sorry, enough. I cut him off, my eyes filled with disappointment and disgust. Robert Davis, I never imagined you'd stoop so low. For money, you'd resort to such despicable means. No, Sarah, listen to me. Robert Davis desperately tried to explain. Explain? The masked leader sneered. Explain what? Guys, get her. The masked men, holding their weapons, advanced on me step by step, just as they were about to attack. The factory door was suddenly kicked open. A group of bodyguards in black suits rushed in. Leading them was Mike Adams, my special assistant and personal bodyguard captain. Protect Ms. Chen, Mike Adams ordered. The bodyguards quickly shielded me, facing off against the masked men. Who are you? The masked leader was not expecting this unexpected intervention, and his face fell. The ones who are here for your lives. Mike Adams's eyes were cold, his tone chilling. With a wave of his hand, the bodyguards behind him charged forward like tigers. Rushing towards the masked men, a fierce brawl immediately erupted. The bodyguards Mike Adams brought were professionally trained agents, highly capable. They quickly overpowered that disorganized thugs, who were left crying for mercy. The masked leader saw that the situation was bad and tried to escape, but Mike Adams kicked him to the ground, leaving him unable to move. Robert Davis was completely dumbfounded by the dramatic reversal before him. He never expected I would be so prepared. Mike Adams walked up to me and said respectfully, Ms. Chen, are you all right? I shook my head, glanced at the subdued kidnappers, then at the disheartened Robert Davis. A mocking smile curved my lips. Robert Davis, your scheme fell through. Robert Davis's face was ashen, his lips trembling. He couldn't say a word. He knew he was utterly finished this time. Mike Adams had his men take that group of so-called kidnappers and Robert Davis to the police station. I watched as they were loaded into the police car, feeling nothing. From the moment Robert Davis betrayed me, I knew there was nothing left between us but hatred. Back at the company, I immediately called an emergency shareholder meeting. At the meeting, I presented evidence of Robert Davis's embezzlement of company funds and his role in planning the kidnapping plot. All the shareholders were shocked and condemned Robert Davis's despicable actions. Finally, the shareholder meeting unanimously passed a resolution to remove Robert Davis from all his positions in the company and hold him legally responsible. The Chen Group was completely transformed. With swift and forceful action, I regained control of the company, becoming the undisputed helmswoman. When the news broke, the entire business world was shaken. No one had expected that the usually low-profile eldest daughter of the Chen family would possess such boldness and determination. Robert Davis was held in the detention center, awaiting legal judgment. He had lost the company, his wealth, his freedom, and me. He regretted it more than once. If he hadn't been blinded by greed back then, if he hadn't betrayed me, would his life have turned out differently? Unfortunately, in this world, there are no ifs. A few days later, I received a call from Ashley Green. On the other end, Ashley Green's voice held a mix of sobs and despair. Ms. Chen, please, I beg you, let Robert go. He knows he was wrong. He knows he was wrong. I sneered. Ashley Green, you're coming to beg me now? Don't you think it's too late? When you two were plotting against me, why didn't you think this day would come? I was forced to do it. Ashley Green cried. If I didn't help him, he would have driven me away and made me get rid of the baby. Ms. Chen, I'm a pitiful person too. Pitiful person? My tone was laced with sarcasm. Ashley Green, you destroyed someone else's family, seduced another woman's husband, and tried to steal what wasn't yours, and now you're telling me you're pitiful. Don't you think that's laughable? Ashley Green was choked by her words and couldn't speak. Ashley Green, let me tell you, Robert Davis got what he deserved. No one can save him. My voice was devoid of emotion. A few more days passed, and the court pronounced judgment on Robert Davis's case. Robert Davis was sentenced concurrently for multiple charges: embezzlement, charges related to the kidnapping plot, and incitement to kidnapping. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. The outcome was deeply satisfying. I stood on the courthouse steps, watching the prison van slowly drive away, my heart a mix of emotions. The animosity between Robert Davis and me finally came to an end at this moment. Although the process had been filled with pain and hardship, I had ultimately won. I had protected my business and gotten justice for myself. From now on, I would live for myself, live a life more brilliant, more dazzling. A month later, I went to the hospital for a follow-up. The doctor told me my body was recovering well, and my uterus, damaged by the miscarriage, had largely recovered. Ms. Chen, your physical condition means you can try to get pregnant again, the doctor said with a smile. I was slightly stunned by this, then gave a relieved smile. A child, perhaps someday in the future. I would meet a man truly worthy of my lifelong devotion, but it would never be Robert Davis. Stepping out of the hospital, the sun was bright, the sky a clear blue. I took a deep breath, feeling a long-lost sense of ease and comfort. My life was just beginning. I believed the future would only get better and better. Just when I thought everything had settled, I unexpectedly received a call from overseas. It was from Jessica White, my best friend from college, whom I hadn't contacted in a long time. Sarah, it's me, Jessica. The voice on the other end held a hint of anxiety and worry. Jess, why are you calling me so suddenly? I was a little surprised. Jessica White had pursued further studies overseas after college, and we hadn't been in touch for a long time. Sarah, I saw the news about what happened with Robert Davis, and Jessica White's tone was hesitant. Are you all right? I'm all right. It's all over now, I said faintly. That's good. Jessica White sighed in relief, then hesitated, as if unsure whether to continue. Sarah, there's something I don't know if I should tell you. What is it? Just say it. It's about Ashley Green, Jessica White said, taking a deep breath, and said, I think I saw her at a hospital overseas a few days ago, Ashley Green. I frowned. What was she doing at a hospital overseas? I'm not sure. Jessica White's tone was uncertain. I just caught a glimpse, but she seemed to be getting a prenatal checkup. And the man with her wasn't Robert Davis, but a much older foreigner. My interest was piqued. Ashley Green getting a prenatal checkup overseas. And with an older foreign man? It seemed a hidden secret was lurking here. Jess, can you help me find out which hospital exactly Ashley Green was at, and who the man with her was? I asked. Okay, I'll do my best to check for you, Jessica White agreed. After hanging up, I fell into deep thought. The child Ashley Green was carrying, was it Robert Davis's? If not, wouldn't Robert Davis have been played for a fool by this woman, become an unwitting stepfather, and paid such a heavy price for it? This possibility made my feelings complicated. While I felt Robert Davis deserved it, I also found him a little pathetic. A few days later, Jessica White called again with the information she had found. Sarah, I found out Ashley Green is indeed getting prenatal checkups at St. Mary's Hospital overseas. The man with her is Richard Smith, a well-known local businessman, around 50 years old, and has been married 3 times already. Smith? I repeated the name. A flicker of understanding crossed my eyes. It seems this woman, Ashley Green, was truly not simple. Her target was never Robert Davis, but wealthy men who could bring her riches and glory. Robert Davis was just one of her many stepping stones. Sarah, there's one more thing I found even stranger. Jessica White's tone was solemn. I asked a friend to check Ashley Green's medical records. It turns out, her pregnancy duration, it doesn't seem to match what she said before. What do you mean? I pressed. Didn't she say she was 3 months pregnant before? Jessica White said, but the records I found show her actual pregnancy is at least 5 months along, and based on the calculation, she got pregnant before she even met Robert Davis. I was completely shocked by what I heard. The child Ashley Green was carrying wasn't Robert Davis's after all. She had been deceiving Robert Davis and everyone else from the very beginning. This woman's scheming was terrifyingly deep. I suddenly felt a chill run down my spine. If it hadn't been for Jessica White's call, I might never have known the truth. And Robert Davis, the man who thought he was so smart, had been kept completely in the dark, played for a fool for so long. Jess, thank you for telling me all this, I said sincerely. You're welcome, Sarah. We're best friends, after all. Jessica White chuckled. What are you planning to do about this? Are you going to tell Robert Davis? I was silent for a moment, then said faintly, no need. He has already received the punishment he deserves. This truth, for him, might be another blow. Or perhaps, a form of release. I didn't want to have any more connection with Robert Davis. His fate was no longer my concern. After hanging up, my emotions remained unsettled for a long time. I suddenly felt that my previous retaliation against Ashley Green had been too lenient. Women like Ashley Green, who play with emotions and deceive men, should be made to experience the taste of ruined reputation and standing, and be left with nothing. A cold light flashed in my eyes. I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Hello, help me find someone. Ashley Green, female, 26 years old, formerly a secretary at Chen Group. I would make Ashley Green pay the price she deserved for her actions. Meanwhile, in prison, Robert Davis completely broke down after learning the child Ashley Green was carrying wasn't his, and that she had already latched onto a foreign businessman. He raged in his cell like a madman, cursing Ashley Green's heartlessness and deceit. He never imagined he would be played like a puppet by a woman, ending up with such a miserable fate. He hated Ashley Green, but he hated his foolishness and greed more. Unfortunately, it was all too late. He would spend a long 15 years in a cold prison cell. As for Ashley Green, under my discreet actions, her scandal quickly spread through the expat community overseas. The wealthy businessman, Richard Smith, flew into a rage after learning he was cuckolded and nearly became an unwitting stepfather. He kicked Ashley Green straight out of his house and used his influence to make it impossible for her to stay there. Ashley Green lost her support and was left with nothing, forced to return home in disgrace. Endless scorn and contempt awaited her. After dealing with Ashley Green, I poured all my energy into developing the company under my leadership, the Chen Group. No, it should be called Chen Group now. Its business flourished, its stock price climbed steadily, and it soon became a leading enterprise in the industry. I also earned everyone's respect and recognition with my outstanding business acumen and decisive style. I was no longer that frail little woman hiding behind a man. I had become a powerful woman capable of standing alone and dominating the business world. A year later, at a business reception, I met a man I was instantly drawn to. The man was Ethan Clark, the charming and accomplished founder of a new tech company. He fell for me instantly and pursued me passionately. At first, I was hesitant. After all, the pain of the past had left me with a hint of fear towards relationships, but Ethan Clark's sincerity and persistence gradually moved me. Unlike Robert Davis, who was full of scheming and calculation, he looked at me with eyes full of admiration and affection. He supported my career, understood my past, and accepted all of me. In front of him, I could drop all my pretense and guard, and be my true self. After spending some time together, I finally opened my heart and accepted Ethan Clark's feelings. We quickly fell deeply in love. Our love received everyone's blessings. Another year passed. At my birthday party, Ethan Clark proposed to me in front of all our family and friends. "Sarah, will you marry me? I will spend my life loving you, cherishing you, and making you the happiest woman in the world." Ethan Clark knelt on one knee, holding a sparkling diamond ring. His eyes were full of deep affection and determination. Looking at the man before me, my eyes blurred with tears. I knew, this time, I had chosen the right person. "I do," I said, my voice choked with emotion, reaching out my hand. Ethan Clark excitedly placed the ring on my ring finger, then stood up and pulled me into a tight embrace. Thunderous applause and cheers filled the banquet hall. Nestled in Ethan Clark's arms, feeling his warm embrace and strong heartbeat, a happy smile bloomed on my face. I knew my happiness had just begun. A few months later, Ethan Clark and I had a grand and romantic wedding. At the wedding, I wore a pure white wedding dress, looking as beautiful as a fairy tale princess. Ethan Clark looked at me, his eyes overflowing with tenderness. Before everyone, we exchanged vows to cherish each other for life. Shortly after the wedding, I became pregnant. This time, I experienced no complications and gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Ethan Clark was by my side the entire time, caring for me meticulously, leaving no detail unattended. Looking at my baby boy sleeping in his bassinet, and my gentle and considerate husband beside me, I felt like the happiest woman in the world. The pain of the past had long vanished like smoke. A future filled with sunshine and hope awaited me. My life, thanks to love, became even more complete and beautiful.